All right, we'll start off with our first order of business this evening. We're going to have a special presentation by Mercy Medical Center in North Iowa, and I believe their CEO, Mr. Jim Fitzpatrick, is here this evening. He's going to talk about blue zones. Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Mayor. I will be brief. You guys have the slides in advance, and they're pretty self-explanatory. The Blue Zone Project. First, we'd like to thank Kelly from Public Health, our own Globe Gazette, IV. There's a cast of thousands already, businesses and individuals in the community who expressed interest in finding out more about what being a Blue Zone community could be. Just a little bit about the story. A little bit about the story. Here we go. All right. Yes. Maybe very little bit about the story.
We'll
There you go.
Just to back up a step, short time ago, Governor Branstad declared that he wanted to have Iowa become a healthy state. We fare pretty well as a state anyway. Next slide. Next slide. The healthiest state, there's a number of businesses, government agencies, and individuals that are helping to drive this proposition. Go ahead, John. Economic impact, one of the huge drivers for this state, for states across the country, for North Iowa, is healthcare expense. Just the lifestyles that we choose are impacting on added costs to the healthcare system. Wellmark's got a significant interest. IV is having dietitians posted in the aisles to help people make healthier choices about what they eat. That's a lot. Kind of at the foundation of Blue Zones is pretty simple things that we can do as individuals, as a community, to try and create a healthier environment for people who live here. From an economic perspective, maybe get some other businesses and industries interested in moving here. There's a lot of new things happening, some that will be celebrated this evening in North Iowa. This could be another blue stamp if we pursue it. Next slide, John. The Blue Zone Project is a, next slide, John, let's just keep buzzing through here. Right? It's the Blue Zone Project. It started with a gentleman by the name of Dan Biedner. Dan Biedner visited countries in geographic areas around the world and found five geographies where there were 9 different attributes that were consistent in each of these. And what they led to was people being able to live a lot longer. They're pretty simple principles. I'll get into them here in a couple minutes. But Mr. Biedner was a company, he was funded by the National Geographic. He was partnered with the University of Minnesota and some other large businesses that were selfishly probably trying to figure out how do we reduce our health benefits expense in our businesses. So what Mr. Biedner found was in each of these areas around the world, these 9 things they had in common. Next slide, John. 9 principles. Move naturally. Walk, boogie, bikes, rides, things that we used to do a lot of, now we've got the cars. 80% rule means when you're full, you're full. You don't have to eat everything on your plate just because Mom said to. Don't feel like you have to continue to push back at the buffet line. Plants land. Let's have some community gardens. Let's have more vegetable intake. Grapes of life. If you have a healthy relationship with alcohol, it's been shown that a glass of wine every once in a while can help propel or help people live a little bit longer. Know your purpose. That's know what you're about. Have some meaning. Invest in yourself. Just the last several are kind of soft. Downshift. Move a little bit more slowly. Take siestas. belong, join things. That's relationships, it's driving collegiality, family first. You get that right, a lot of other things fall into place, and right tribe. Those are the principles. Next slide, John. There's 10 communities that will be chosen. The first go around there will be 3, and it's a vote. It's how many people from Mason City click on a website or text a site that I will give to you in a little bit here. And the more we have, the higher you go up on that rung, and then we can tap into some free stuff. And the free stuff is these experts who've identified ways to reform your community, recalibrate, help create more walk areas, things that you can do to create a healthy environment so that the people who live there live longer, and maybe people moving in might live a little longer also. Next slide, please. We had the great fortune of having a neighbor to the north of us, Albert Lee, Minnesota, that was identified. After they found these sites, they said, let's trial it somewhere. Let's trial it in the heartland. Albert Lee actually was the first city in the country to have a 10-month partnership with the Blue Zone folks who came in and worked as consultants with them to say, have you thought about this? Have you thought about community gardens? Have you thought about creating safer walkways so kids can walk more to school? Nothing, and Albert Lee created a plan in partnership with the Blue Zone. Next slide, please. Their plan focused on community, social networks, habitat, and yourself. Next slide. These are some of the things that they did. This is Albert Lee. This would not be Mason City. This would not be North Iowa. In order to have exposure to some of these people who spend all their time thinking about how you can create a healthier environment, we have to get more votes from this community. So my ask at the end of this is, if we could give a little oomph, oomph is a technical term, clinical term, if we could get some oomph from a letter from the city council, and just some FaceTime with anybody you bump into to try and get every man, woman, and child 13 years or older in North Iowa, in Mason City, to enter this website. Next slide, please. This is what the participation looked like in Albert Lee. Next slide. And this is what they've recognized so far in about a little over a year that they've been working with them. Some material impacts for individuals, also for the businesses that reside in the Albert Lee community. Next slide, please. A couple of things that have happened here. We had a number of 6 different sites that were coordinated for the Start Somewhere walk. It was pretty well participated in. There were a number of people, just interested citizens from Mason City, who attended the session down in Des Moines to learn more about what it was. And we had several large employers who were part of that visit also. Next slide, John. What we need is a commitment of support. And support is as simple as a letter. I'm not asking for any money. Nobody's asking for any money. This is help us to create some energy from this community at the municipality level to help us stay in the running, or get in the running, actually. If you go to the website right now, Old Line, Iowa has the most votes. Algona, Iowa has number 2, and Mason City is 3rd from the bottom for those communities that have had people text or email. Next slide, please. This is where you go. Everybody got a pen handy? Anybody who's on Facebook with more, I've got 14 friends. Anybody has more than that, I'm sure. Send this out on your Facebook site, post it up there. It's a low-cost, no-cost opportunity to just lend another stamp of approval to Mason City and North Iowa. I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fitzpatrick. We appreciate you coming tonight. We'll do a round of questions here with council. Folks, do you have any questions? We'll be recognized. Mr. Weaver.
Just a comment, because I notice a lot of my supporters are here tonight. If I lose 2 pounds, I'll live 3.1 years longer. That's okay.
I can't cut it back for you, Max.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Anybody else? Ms. Solberg.
I just want to see, I went in and applied, or went in online and did this, and it takes about 30 seconds.
30
so-
seconds, very good.
Great.
Thank you, Ms. Solberg. Anyone else down here? Mr. Nelson.
I got a question. What, with the email, what would you say? That we're interested, what would be?
Actually, Don, when you get on this website, you put in Don Nelson, Mason City, Iowa. I think they ask for an email address. That's just so people don't double dip and enter multiple times. The letter, if you could authorize the mayor on behalf of the city to send a letter of support along with any application package we send in, if we make the cut. November 4th or 2nd is when they will be locking down the site and determining which are the top 3 or 5 sites that they're going to actually accept letters of intent from. And we have to talk a little bit more about why we would be someplace they'd want to commit some resources.
So we'll make a comment about individually showing our support for Mason City. Is that what you're saying? And we email?
The email does not ask for a comment about Mason City. It would be the letter, a letter of support from the city that I would ask for that. And there may be more opportunities from council persons to offer positive comments about Mason City.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Anybody else? All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Fitzpatrick, for taking time out of your schedule. All right, well, that's text to BZP. Text BZP to 772937, and you can find also vote at bluezonesproject.com. And I'm sure you'll probably be hearing about that in the media here over the next week or two. So.